Welcome to the CMO Spotlight, and I'm here today with David Partain, who is the Chief Marketing Officer for Flexshares Exchange Traded Funds, which is part of Northern Trust.
Go into sales for a time, whether it's stay in your current role as a marketer and make sure you get in the field with the sales team. But there's nothing like actually trying sales because it'll make you a much better marketer. I would have to say that extreme concentration has been a real gift for me. Integrity, because integrity is when no one's looking, how do you act? And my team knows that when I say something to them, it's the truth. If you don't, they will not respect you and they can't trust you. The biggest obstacle to change is lack of trust. If someone trusts you, they will accept almost any amount of change if they think you're doing it out of the goodness either for them or them and the organization. But at the end of the day, they want to know that you're looking out for them. So do I. And the other one is steadfastness. I try my best to not get too upset or too down or even too happy. Business is, up, down, up, down. Stock market is all low, especially in this business. Stock market is everywhere. And so being able to hold and be steadfast during times like that really pays dividends too with your team. And the last is I try to have empathy. I think it is one of the ways that you can also build trust with your team. And if you have trust with your team, they'll walk through a brick wall for you if they trust you. And I don't like to make them do that all the time, but there are some times when we got to get this done. We got to do it this way, and you just have to trust me. And if they're trusting you before, then they will trust you then. The flop was I did work in oil and gas with my brother, and he's really a smart dude. He's an engineer. He's an engineer type. I'm a more creative type. So that made for its own interesting conflicts with between two brothers. We had a deal with a farmer in Texas who leased his land. We went and drilled, and I was here in Chicago. The land was in Texas. The rest of the team was in Texas. I stayed here in Chicago, but I was on the phone and we hit oil. Where it's just spurting out of the ground and we're just whooping and hollering. And then the geologist goes, the pressure that's coming from there is too great. We did not lay pipe thick enough to handle this pressure. And so everybody's like, yeah, that's a bummer. We're going to need to cap it, and then we'll drill and find it. No, it's so much pressure. Find it again. We never found it again, ever found it again. So what that says to me is never plan for the minimum scenario. Had he planned for pressure and a great outcome, we would have been sitting pretty. But the fact that we never found it again, when you find something, you have to take advantage of it now. But in that time, it was a miserable failure. The success comes from a campaign we have going now. It's called Wallet Share. It actually was driven by our sales team who came to us and said, hey, we have an idea. And because our marketers we always listen to our sales team, it was like, and it was around figuring out how advisors can convince current clients to give them more of their wallet. It's a huge dilemma across the industry, and it's the easiest way to grow your revenue as an advisor is to take a current client rather than doing cold calling, rather than looking for referrals. Take a current client. There's basically 5 personality types of clients, and you need to look and see and speak in the language of those 5 personality types, and that will help you. And we did a huge national survey of both advisors and of wealthy individuals to see how they wanted to be talked to, and none of them want to be asked, can you give me a referral? It's been a fantastic ride. It's brought in leads, it's brought in revenue that we've been able to tie to revenue. It has been one of those projects where exactly what we needed, and it's helped drive business for us. So it pays to listen to your sales team because they are in the field. And what they heard over and over was advisor telling me, if you could just tell me how to grow wallet share with my current clients, that would be really cool. Growing up as a kid, you didn't say, do you want a soda or a pop? You said, do you want a Coke? The generic Coke was the drink. So it's just made me appreciate how dominant Coke became and synonymous with a drink. And kind of there are brands in our industry that I really admire, BlackRock with iShares being one of those, that they do a phenomenal job making it almost synonymous with exchange traded funds. The one that I use almost daily though, and this is so cliche, but I'm going to say it, it's Amazon. I use it freaking almost, or my wife or I use it every day. They're in the house. The way they've grown, it's crazy the long-term perspective he's able to have in a very short-term world.